Ariana Grande's Sweetener World Tour movie is dropping soon, and here's everything we know. I'm Jana Rosenberg.
I'm Gabi Conti, and this is your 24/7 celebrity news. So good news, Arianators, and anyone else who is missing the concert-going experience. It is just announced that Ariana Grande is going to release a Sweetener World Tour movie. So if you missed the Sweetener Tour or you're just missing concerts in general, soon you'll be able to go to one in the comfort of your own home. The upcoming concert movie will follow Ariana around her now iconic 2019 tour, which all starts with the release of her hit Thank You Next album.
Yes, this era of Ariana is everything. I mean, every era that she's ever been through is everything, but specifically Sweetener, like I remember the release of the album. It was such a huge deal, and then we got blessed with Thank You Next shortly after, which is mind-blowing to me. I was like, is she really releasing a whole other new full-length album?
And they were just, I mean, it was the year of her. It was like, and also she had gone through so much personally, which is also makes this docuseries incredibly fascinating, because not only are we gonna hear all the music, we're gonna see the stories behind the music, the backstage, and also, I mean, she's dealt with so much while making Thank You Next.
There's so much excitement and anticipation of the Sweetener Tour movie that there's currently a bidding war going on for which platform will release this film. Not a bad problem to have. According to The Sun, this bidding war has Netflix and YouTube as the top contenders for the rights of this tour. According to a source, Ariana's team is negotiating a huge deal between a number of big hitters, with Netflix and YouTube both showing interest. Netflix has put forward a starting offer of $5 million to get the rights. The deal is being negotiated by Ari's closest advisors, led, of course, by Scooter Braun.
Well, so we know she's in good hands. We know it'll be on a good channel. Netflix or YouTube are both great places to live. Her last docuseries about Dangerous Woman is actually on YouTube, so I wouldn't be surprised if they want to do it there. Although I will say a Netflix concert like we saw with Beyonce and Taylor is just great, because you really do feel like you're at the concert, you're there, you're seeing it, even though you're home.
I'm rooting for Netflix.
Me too.
I just would love that. I also feel like we get the full length on Netflix. I feel like on YouTube they release parts of it and then they give you the full thing.
Yeah, and there's ads, or maybe there's not ads, I don't know, but Netflix it feels like an easier way to consume the content.
We already pay for the subscription.
Yes. Or we use our moms, or our moms use ours, whatever, no judgment. So what can we expect from this highly anticipated documentary on the Sweetener World Tour? Well, we do know that the cameras were following Ariana's every move on her world tour last year, so they have all the footage from her show-stopping performances, as well as her behind-the-scenes shots of Ari backstage, traveling and having some rare downtime. A source close to the project said that the movie will be, quote, a brutally honest and raw depiction of how tough life can be on the road, but will include the happier, heartwarming times too. And the Sweetener Tour was happening as she was dealing with her breakup with Pete Davidson, right?
Yes, he was there.
He was there for part of it. So I don't know if they're saying that it starts with the Thank You Next album. The Thank You Next release was after she had broken up with Pete.
Yes.
But who knows? There might, I mean, I'm sure she's dealing with the aftermath of and also I do remember that after they were broken up, and that was, I think, when Thank You Next was released, there was a scare of Pete kind of tweeting what seemed like a suicide note. Do you remember this?
I actually don't. I jumped on the Pete Davidson bandwagon train after they broke up.
Well, this was after they had broken up. They had broken up, and Pete was very depressed, and he was supposed to come to work at SNL. He didn't show up to work, and he had tweeted something that looked like a suicide note. And Ariana Grande was she had tweeted something like, Pete, I'm don't do I'm here for you.
I totally remember this.
And she went to 30 Rock to try to find him. Yes. It was really, really sad. He's fine now, thank God. But I wonder if the cameras were rolling then, because I feel like she was on her tour as that was happening. But again, my timeline could be a little skewed.
You might remember that Ariana showed fans a similar perspective in her Dangerous Woman diaries, which followed the singer around as she did her Dangerous Woman World Tour. The docuseries was filmed over the course of various shows by her friend Alfredo Flores, and you can watch it for free currently on YouTube. During the time Sweetener Tour was going on, was personally a very difficult time to Ariana, as during the time she was making Sweetener and Thank You Next, she was dealing with the death of her ex-boyfriend Mac Miller, her split from fiance Pete Davidson, and of course before then the bombing of Manchester show in 2017,
which she's probably still processing. And I can't, I mean, after something like that happens, I can imagine that every time she goes on stage, in the back of her mind, there is a fear that something like that could happen.
Oh my gosh,
again.
I really can't. It makes me it makes me sick to think about it. I can't imagine.
I can't imagine.
But I'm really excited. She's gonna give us a dive and a look into all of this. I mean, even if you're not the biggest Ariana Grande fan, she's one of the biggest pop stars in the world. So.
And she's such a talent, and this album and this tour was everything. So I'm very excited to see it come to life. I personally never got to see the concert concert.
I didn't either. I was going to ask
So
you.
yeah, so this I feel like is a great opportunity, and even if you have seen it, a great way to relive such a magical
Yeah,
experience.
definitely.
Will you guys be watching the Sweetener World Tour when it's released? Let us know. I'm Gabi Conti.
I'm Jana Rosenberg, and this is your 24/7 celebrity news.